Well, why don't we talk to the nation? Let's go out to our good friend Monty in Long Island. Good morning, Monty.
Hey, Monty
What's up,
Capoletti.
boys? How are you?
What's going on, my friend?
So what I'm thinking here, for old school guys, we remember Backlund, right? For the new generation, I think they're testing the waters, and it actually got by you guys yesterday. It got by all the dirt sheets, and Hogan became the flavor. I think what they're going to try to do is we know about Inoki, but the one thing I think you guys are forgetting about too is back I don't know, 84, 83, 82, Valentine won the title at the Garden. Remember the double pin? And he actually defended the title the next day, and they held up the belt. So I think they're ready to build an excuse to eliminate Backlund's title reign. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, Monty, and you also had, I believe, a match with Harley Race where the championship was held up as well. But here's the problem that I have, Monty. If they're going to do that now, then why now and not 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
It's easy, Dave, because they didn't have a Roman 5 or 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
They have a Roman now. They're trying to plow the field. They're trying to make an easier path for Roman to surpass the most important and the most difficult other stars to surpass.
Or you could look at it this way, Bully. This may help Cody's cause, right? Because Hogan is still, one of the greats of all time, and Cody could be the one to stop Roman from taking that reign from Hogan. We all identified that San Martino is not attainable, right? That's not an attainable thing.
That's a very interesting perspective on this. I don't think they're going to go that way. I could be wrong, but Cody is going to be the one to stop Roman from surpassing Hulk. I don't know if Hulk is as beloved as he was back in the day, though.
I totally agree. And to the point, Cole purposely left out Backlund's name. For, again, old school guy like me, I was shocked to not hear Backlund's name. But no, all the younger fans, they had forgotten. Hogan's the guy. All these memes that are coming out, Hogan defending 438 times against Romans, 58 times, whatever that number is. That's what they're using.
Just look at the opening of Raw. You see the stare down of Hogan and Andre first. I don't think Backlund is on the opening of Raw, period.
And you know what, Monty and Bully, in a way, Backlund's kind of become that forgotten champion. For a guy who was champion as long as he was in the face of the company from 78, think about that. He was champion from 78 to December of 83. That's a long chunk of time, guys. But he's kind of forgotten, even by us. Think about it, Monty. Like yesterday, we're talking about the Mount Rushmore of the WWF/WWE. I wouldn't put Bob Backlund on that Mount Rushmore. If you think about it, you should. If you think about how long he was champion, the way that Bully and I, and maybe even you, Monty, fell in love with this business while he was champion, I wouldn't even think of putting Bob Backlund on that Mount Rushmore.
You're 100% correct, Dave. And one last point to you guys. You guys were comparing Roman to Flair, or, Cena to Flair. Let's use this example, though, to be fair to Roman Reigns. He's the champion that's grossed the most money. Forget about economics, right? If you just take pure dollars, his championship reign has had more money filtered into the WWE than any champion. So when you talk about money, you got to throw that in. More than Flair, more than Hogan. He drew more money than any of them. I know there's economics involved, but that puts Roman Reigns on the Mount Rushmore.
And Monty, that's a good point, because Dave, if you remember our conversation a couple of months ago, I told you that they need to get Cody over on the entire planet, because if they pull the trigger, you have to make sure that Cody Rhodes is going to generate as much money as Roman Reigns, if not more money than Roman Reigns. So Monty brings up this point about Roman grossing more than anybody else. Is Cody going to gross more than the company than anybody else?
I mean, that's
and common sense would dictate, guys, that this will not be the case. right? Because he didn't draw money for AEW, and I'm not a Cody hater, but we got to be realistic here. Cody winning the belt will be a great, good moment, exciting, but the sustainability as him as champion, I don't see it, and I don't think the WWE sees it either. They see more in the chase than the actual championship.
Well, the chase, I mean, and Monty, and everybody.
That's a good call, Monty.
It's that the chase is always better than the catch, right? I mean, that's what the story's all about, is that chase. I mean, Monty, I really don't have an answer because I think only time will tell. I believe he can be that face. But Monty, I understand your side of it as well. I totally get your side. And Monty, it's kind of interesting when you're talking about Roman Reigns, and I'll even kind of bring this back to Backlund, guys. Like, do I think Roman is the reason why the WWE is making all this money right now and they're having it? He's a key reason, but I don't think he is the number one reason, unlike Bruno was back in the day or even Hogan. But you could say the same thing about Bob Backlund. If you think about some of the biggest matches and the biggest shows and the biggest cards, guys, at that time period from 78 to 83, I don't think you're naming any Backlund matches. Think about that time period. What are we talking about? Jimmy Superfly Snuka against Don Morocco. Like some of those matches that are most memorable in that time period didn't even happen with Bob Backlund in the ring, even though he was your champion at that time.
All I remember is Snuka Backlund and Backlund Mass Superstar.
You got Backlund Morocco, Texas Death Match. You got the Valentine matches. But Dave's 100% correct. But to counterpoint you, Dave, is this. We're in a generation where the WWE is about the WWE and not about its superstar. But Roman Reigns has bypassed that configuration by the company, right? They wanted to keep that mantra, but he broke that mold. So I kind of disagree with you that he is not the reason. He is the reason. That's why SmackDown ratings went up every time he's on. Every pay-per-view is like a Mike Tyson fight. It gives you that feeling. So, again, huge Roman Reigns guy. I'm a huge Hogan guy, but I think Roman Reigns deserves to be up in that Mount Rushmore when it's all said and done. And I think the WWE is trying to cement him in that role.
It's a good point. Monty, do you have a podcast?
I do, sir. It's a pretty popular podcast, yeah.
Well, thanks, Monty.
Stop busting my balls, Dave.
For real?
Yeah, Monty, mention it. Go ahead, brother.
It's Monte The Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, there you go, buddy. I mean, we always push the community here on pro wrestling, even though these guys hate on me all the time, Bully.
Oh, wait. Don't you and your partner bury me all the time on your podcast?
We do, Bully. Yes, we do.
Okay, well, go fuck yourself then.
Not as much as, but you know what though, Monty? Seriously, good call, and it's a good call from Monty, Bully, because, and I don't know if I completely agree with the Roman aspect. I still feel like the WWE as a brand, though, I mean, I would be crazy to say he's not a key reason why, but I don't think he is the reason why, like Bruno was or like Hogan was. Those guys were the reason why. I think, and the proof is in the pudding.
Bloodline story is the reason why.
But I think, and you can't say this about Bruno and you can't say this about Hogan. I say it all the time. If Bruno's not on the show, it's not a sellout. If Hogan's not on the show, it's not a sellout. You could still sell out, and the WWE has time and time again without Roman on the show.
And listen, SmackDown, I think I saw something on that WrestleTix Twitter site. SmackDown this Friday night is not sold out.
Interesting. And that's a follow-up.
I can go back and check, but I don't believe it's sold out this Friday night.
We'll have to look. I mean, but even if they don't sell out, they're always close to a sellout. I mean, they're doing record business.
To me, it's the Bloodline story that raised that raised the waters, the tide in the WWE. I agree with you. Bruno and Hogan stood on their own. That's real emotional investment. That we loved these guys so much that we were willing to pay them just to see them. I have to go see Bruno. I have to go see Hulk. They carried the companies on their back. And I'll go as far to say Steve did not carry the company on his back the way Hogan or Bruno did.
I completely agree with that statement because I've said it before, and I know I've gone to shows at the Meadowlands where Stone Cold was not on the show, was still a sellout because you had Taker, you had The Rock, you had you had the Hardy, like you had other components. I think it's the same thing here. Though Roman is their biggest star, does bring that big match feel. I have one more question to follow up on Monty's Call. We're late for a break. Let's take a break and then we'll follow up when Bully and I are back right here. I'm Busted Open. We're doing the 10 worst booking decisions all time in pro wrestling history. Speaking, Bully, of pro wrestling history, my friend, piggybacking from Monty's phone call from before, he said he would put Roman on that WWE Mount Rushmore. Let's just say Roman's reign ends at WrestleMania 40 to Cody. Do you put Roman on that WWE Mount Rushmore?
Roman is not on my Mount Rushmore.
No.
No.
What would it take for Roman to be on that Mount Rushmore for you?
Well, you'd have to compare him to the other people on my Mount Rushmore.
All right,
the Brunos, the Hogans, the Steves, and the Rocks. I mean, that's just and the Mount Rushmore thing is to me is purely your own opinion, right? If you really want to gauge who the Mount Rushmore is of the WWE, then you have to go to dollars and cents. And if this jerk off Monty is correct about no, screw him. Him and his partner listen to our show and then bury us. Bury us. He can go to hell. That's it. If I see him on the street, I smack him in the face. So you got to go by dollars and cents.
It was a good phone call from Monty, though. I have to give him.
Good phone call, rotten person.
It was a very
scumbag,
good
bottom
phone
feeder.
Call.
So